Good morning again. This is Mr. B, the chess coach, and today I want to go over the Alekhine defense and a very easy way to play against it, and that it's played at the Grandmaster level. Um, and we start with e4, and Alekhine defense starts with knight f6. The idea is to try to attack the center right away and try to have white give up the center later on in the game, where black will try to get the center with his pawns afterwards, and he's going to try to attack the center from the sides. And after this, we are gonna push the pawn to e5 and chase the knight away. So knight will come to d5. We're gonna do c4, attack the knight again, and controlling more squares in the center, the b5 square and the d5 square. You can see the knight attacks the pawn, but the pawn is defended by our bishop on f1, so we don't need to worry about that pawn. And we're going to play d4. Again, getting more support in the center. You can see we're controlling this whole entire area, and also it protects the pawn on e5. And then black will play d6. Over here, if white takes the pawn on d6, then you're more likely playing for a draw. It's going to be a very drawish position. But the only way white could get an advantage in this position is to try to hold on to the center. So we need to play f4. Black takes the pawn, and we take the pawn with the f takes e5. Knight to c6. Now, what's the idea? You can see this pawn in the center, the d4 pawn, is attacked twice. Once by the knight and once by the queen. So far, we're only defending once, and in order to not to lose material, we need to defend as many times as the opponent is attacking. So we need another defender on that pawn, and we're just going to do a developing move, bishop to e3, which develops the bishop, but also adds another defender on the d4 pawn. From here, black will develop his white bishop and to f5. Um, we are going to bring our knight to c3. Again, more support in the center right here and more development as well. Um, Pawn to e6, and then knight to f3. Again, you can see we're supporting these squares again, the d4 square and e5 square. And then from my analysis of a dozen of Grandmaster games, I've seen three main variations right here. Knight to b4, right here, bishop to e7, right here, or queen to d7. So let's take a look at all of these. So let's look at knight to b4. Now what this does, the knight tries to come to c2 to fork the king and the rook. And you can see the queen cannot take it because the bishop on f5 guards that square. So what we need to do is bring another defender of that square and also move the rook out of the way. So rook to c1. And then from here, black will play c5, uh, supporting the knight, and also try to take down the center. But we don't need to worry about him taking. We're just going to develop. We don't want to waste the tempo by taking the pawn. That would actually be a terrible move. So bishop to e2. He's going to take the pawn on d4. Then we are going to take with the knight, and we're also attacking the bishop, which if the bishop doesn't move out of the way, uh, we're going to get a slight advantage after we take it. He's going to double up the pawns over here, and after we castle, we're just going to have a rook on that open file, where he has two weaknesses. So he's going to move the bishop to g6. Then we're going to play a3, chase the knight away. One rule of thumb: you don't want to leave any of his pieces in your territory, in your half of the board. Anything between the fourth and first rank right here. If you have the opportunity to chase his pieces away, you want to do it as soon as possible because those pieces could become a major threat if you let him sit there. So he's going to bring the knight to c6. We're going to take the knight, also attacking the queen. Um, uh, Over here, bishop will, I'm sorry, the pawn on b7 will take the pawn on c6. And this is it for this variation. Right here, White has a very, very good game. He has a slight advantage. Even after if the queen takes if the queen trades, we could bring our rook to c1. We're going to control this open file. After we castle, we have the other open file. We have really nice control with the bishop. They're very active. And this is a really great game for white. Um, all right, let's look at the other variation. So we've looked at the variation where knight comes to b4. Let's look at the variation where bishop e7. So here black is trying to develop and also get ready to castle. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to develop our bishop and get ready to castle. He's going to castle kingside. We're going to castle kingside. And here he's trying to take down the center. So pawn to f6. Now we are not going to take this pawn on f6. That's actually helping him out. That's his goal anyways. He could even take with the rook to control the open file and then double up on the open file, or even take with the bishop and then attack this weakness now, because you could see the knight, the queen, everything attacks that pawn. So that's actually going to create weaknesses for us. So what we're going to do is knight to h4. We're going to attack his bishop instead. He's going to take on e5, and we're going to take his bishop. Now he needs to take back. He's going to take back with the pawn. Um, Pawn takes e5, and now instead of taking in the center, we're going to push the pawn up to d5, attacking his knight. Um, his knight needs to move out the way, and the best square that he has is on d4. Bishop will take the knight. After pawn takes, the queen takes the pawn, and we are up a pawn. We have a really nice strong center right here. This pawn, the backward pawn on c4, it's defended by the bishop, defended by the queen. Knight also supports the white squares here. The queen supports the dark squares. Um, you can see we have the open file. I mean, this is a really great position for white. And the last variation that you will see in the Alekhine, it's the queen to d7 at this point. If queen to d7, we're just gonna develop the bishop on e2 and getting ready to castle. Here, when he goes on queen to d7, then he intends to castle queenside and then start a kingside attack. Castle kingside, queenside, and we're gonna castle kingside, and then he's gonna start an attack f6. Um, Here we're okay. We're okay to take the pawn on f6. We do have the open file also with our rook control with the rook, so we are pretty safe and we're okay to take the pawn here. G takes f6. Even though he gets this open file right here against our king, which you might be worried about, there's really nothing to worry about because it's going to take black a long time to develop and start attack on the king side. So far, if he moves his rook, he's just going to have a rook, but you can see we're starting the attack right away, d5. We're attacking the knight and the pawn as well. From here, black will move the knight to e5, and we're going to take the knight on b6. Here he could take the bishop or he could take the knight. The best move for him actually is to take the knight. So he's going to take the knight, bishop takes the knight, and from here we have a really great game for white. And you could see uh, our attack will be much stronger and it's also much faster. He's going to have to, and he had no choice, he had to respond to our threats. After we attack the knight, either he takes it, and even if he would have taken with the pawn, we could take with the other pawn and still attack the knight. So the knight has to move away uh, at this position right here. So we're forcing black to respond to what we're doing, which means we're pushing our agenda. We have the initiative in this position. Um, and again, we're taking the knight, he's going to have to respond to that. So this is a great game for white, and it's a really nice way to play Alekhine defense, and I've seen a lot of Grandmaster games with this variation, but I think it's very easy to learn. So good luck and have a great day.